Hey everybody, so today we're going to talk about Apple's revenue growth. So I did talk about revenue growth in my Apple video with the quarter, with the recent quarter. In that recent quarter, we reported 2% revenue growth. But now let's think about this in an entire year's revenue perspective. So let's just go back in history a little bit. And if we see back here in 2020, we had one full year revenue of 274.5 billion. Now in 2021, that revenue went to 365.8 billion. So going from 2020 to 2021, we saw a 33.26% growth in revenue. So that is one of the reasons why people are paying well over 20 PE multiples on Apple. Now, keep in mind the average PE ratio for Apple, if we're looking back in history, it was around 15 to 20. So 26, 27, that is a big premium. So now that begs the question, what is 2022 full year revenue going to be? And what is the growth going to be from 2021 to 2022? So here, I could put a big question mark. I can also put a big question mark right here because we don't know that. But we can make an assumption, and I'm going to show you how we can make that assumption. So right here, I'm breaking this down into quarters. So here we have 2021, 4 quarters of data. Here in 2022, we actually have 3 quarters of data. Remember, the most recent quarter that we reported was Q3 for Apple. Apple does not follow our calendar year. They are actually ahead of us. So the next quarter's report on Apple is actually going to give us Q4, and it's going to give us an entire year of revenue. So what we're going to compare for Q4 is this Q4 revenue versus 2021 Q4 revenue. Now keep in mind that Mr. Tim Cook, he told us that we were going to see accelerated revenue growth in Q4. So what could that be? I mean, I would assume it's going to be more than the 2% that we got this quarter. So I'm making the assumption that for Q4, we could see 10%, 15%, 20%, or 25% revenue growth. Now, over 25%, I'm a little bit skeptical. But I do believe, it's probably more likely that we come in somewhere around 15%. That would just be my guess. It's not really backed by any data. I'm just guessing right here. But, I do have this pretty nice range right here. So, my estimations could actually be pretty accurate here. So when we do calculate a 10% revenue growth, essentially what we're doing is we are multiplying this number by 1.1. And then when we're looking at 15%, we're multiplying that number by 1.15 and so on and so forth. So this gives me estimates of 91.7 billion for 10% growth, 95.86 billion for 15% growth, 100 billion for 20% growth, and 104.2 billion for 25% growth. So when I actually plug these numbers into this right here, we can sum up the 4 quarters of revenue, and we could come up with a full year revenue for 2022, and this would be an estimate. So my low estimate is 10% here. And this will be 396-ish billion for 10%. That will give us a year-over-year revenue growth of 8.2%. And if we're looking at 15%, then I'm looking at the full year revenue being around 400 billion, and that would be a 9.36% in revenue growth. Looking at 20%, then we'll get a full year revenue of around 404 billion. That will be 10.5% year over year growth. And 25%, we're looking at 408.38 billion. and that would be about an 11.64% year over year growth. So keep in mind, you guys, from 2020 to 2021, we saw over 30% revenue growth. Now here, looking at 2021 to 2022, this could be somewhere between 8.22% to 11.64%. So to me, it doesn't make sense to be paying that 26 to 27 PE multiple when we're seeing this company grow year over year to these numbers that are close to the single digits, low double digits. So that just basically sums up my conclusion right here. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video.